Yeah, I have to give Kurt a lot of credit for this because actually he's been a really great coach for me over the last actually more than decade now. So we discussed, my specific career ambitions, over that period of time, and he, starting actually more than a few years ago, started reinforcing that it would make sense for me to explore a variety, board positions to basically broaden my purview. So, candidly, it took me a little while to make that a priority because there were other, short-term objectives I was focused on, and I moved from one company to Samsung and other life events. But I began to explore alternatives more seriously, starting about 12 months ago. And I was trying to also find my strategy was basically, as advised by Curry, like the most important thing is secure your first one, right? So don't set your ambitions too high. You got to get in first, get on the map, and kind of go from there. And so I looked at, where I could, realistically contribute and where I felt I wanted to contribute. And then, looking at not just high level, board positions, very experienced people who've been doing it for, 20 years, but, kind of lower level board positions that would allow me to get in. So it really wasn't clear how to start at first, but I started doing some research, talking to Kurt a bit more, put the word out in my network, my Phello network. LinkedIn is part of that. Different peer-to-peer networking conversations to basically just let people know I was interested in this, including some, communication around it. And the word got out, and after I explored several options, and I started having some conversations about it and exploring alternatives, and it ultimately led to to this opportunity here. So yeah, I'd say it played an important role. Again, it was all I started after talking to Kurt and agreeing that I needed to make this a priority. Then it was a question of using my network, right? And again, getting the word out that I was interested in this, and also talking to others about their experience and getting their suggestions for where, how they secured their first positions and how it expanded from there. So it was a good combination of networking and additional mentoring and coaching from others. But the network was fundamental, and in fact, this opportunity came to me because of someone I know in my network who knew I was interested and actually even without unbeknownst to me, actually let the other person know I was interested, and they reached out to me, and then we started having discussions. So I was basically referred by an individual in my network who I've known for years and who knew I was interested in something like this.
Perfect. What would be your recommendation to other professionals on the best way to find a new board role?
Uh, yeah, I mean, everything's unique. I think what helped me was that getting some clarity on my medium to long term, career objectives was helpful because I think once I had greater clarity on that, then it cemented, in my mind that it really made sense to pursue, an advisory board or board position. That it mapped directly to my objectives. It would help me broaden, my purview and get the kind of experience I wanted, and help me to hopefully ultimately in the future find more of a CXO position. Whether it's chief revenue officer or chief marketing officer or whatever. But I see this as a necessary step to demonstrate, not just depth but more breadth as well. So I think it was, I think there's aligning on your career objectives, and it's also again going back to what's most important is that you secure your first one, right? So have realistic expectations, explore a lot of alternatives, right? And be open to a lot of different things. And then, come back to the point of where can you contribute? You don't want to be on a board and not have anything to say, right? So what's your expertise? What do you have a passion for doing? Where do you think you can help steer things? So I think all those things were factors in the mix of helped me hone into my plan. But it took some time. I mean, if Kurt was on, he would keep me honest and say that took me a while to kind of catch up, so to speak, with his coaching and make this a priority. But I think once I did, and took the lessons from the conversations with Kurt and the networking discussions, it actually came together, rather quickly. It's kind of like I can sense momentum. It's palpable sometimes. You get queries, emails coming in, people looking at your profile, calls that come in to and then other discussions. Hey, I heard you might be interested. I know this person, and then things can happen fairly quickly. And the interesting, one other quick comment was once I started exploring this alternative with Seton Hall, I was happy that they moved fairly quickly. I had a number of discussions, but it all took place roughly within the course of a week, and then they very quickly moved and followed up. Of course, there's an opportunity for them, right? Because they also can expand their network with a Samsung executive, and hopefully that will help them with their career. So it's always it was a win-win kind of thing. But that's how business works, right? But they moved, fairly quickly, and I think they saw that that I could contribute, that there was some contributions I could make, and that my experience, was reasonably well matched to the chart that I have. Yeah, again, very helpful. I mean, it was all back to the network again in the process, right? And then, as Kurt and the team always reinforces, stay in touch with your network, and I mean, it is that is tough, right? With all the other work and life demands to reach out and, to the people that you need to. But, I kept a reasonable focus, and part of it too was just wanting to make sure I was helping other people too, because, there's, especially with things going on, a lot of people are, kind of hurting now. Right? They're out of work, or they're underemployed, or they're looking for some help. So, just keeping that, making sure that I'm giving back and making that a priority. And, it's like anything. I think when you try to help others, it comes back to you, and opportunities come your way. So I think that's another thing is, trying to help others and help them with their networking and getting them in touch with recruiters or other opportunities that came across my way. That probably, directly or indirectly helped as well. So. Yeah, I think, like I stated before, I think it was just at my stage in the career, I felt like this was a necessary kind of prerequisite to get, some broadening experience beyond, the roles I've had in sales and product management and other functions, and just, kind of step back and look at where I can contribute, that hopefully this will lead to another, if you will, higher level advisory board or board position, with other companies in different spheres, and then just continue to position me for, more of a CXO type of position in the future. I just see this as a necessary step, and having interviewed once or twice with companies looking for, CXO positions, this seems to be something that resonates with them as well. So it just seems like it was something that I felt like I needed to kind of broaden my repertoire a bit. So I just want to, I want to thank Kurt again, because he's been a really strong supporter, and, he gives, kind of tough love, right? So when he saw I wasn't moving ahead on this, I remember about 18 months ago, he came in and, he's like, hey, what's going on? You got to kick it into high gear here, right? So, that sometimes you need that little kick in the butt, right? It was definitely helpful, but he's been a great coach and partner in the process.